All right, this little segment is called Tips and Tricks. This is important. It took me about 6 months to get good at using natural yeast and actually get where I actually liked the taste of the bread and my family would eat it. That's important. When using natural yeast, one of your most common problems that you're going to run into is that it's too sour. The yeast has gotten too sour and it makes everything like an extreme sourdough bread. Okay? I like sourdough bread, but not extreme sourdough bread, and my family definitely doesn't like it. So you want them to be able to eat it. That's kind of important when you're doing this. So a lot of things I learned the hard way, I'm hoping to teach you so that you don't have to learn it the hard way, that it's a little easier on you. If it is not going super well for you, don't give up. It's very important to learn this skill, especially for using your wheat in your food storage. It's important. Okay, so we had just fed this guy, so he's not super bubbly yet. But let's pretend he's all bubbly and we're ready to use him. The day that I'm going to cook bread, this is important. The day that I'm going to cook bread, I feed him extra because I don't want my bread to be sour. And so what I will do is I will bring him out of the fridge. And actually this is a she because this is Hope. So I bring her out of the fridge and I say, okay, Hope, I need you to work good for me today. And I will take my spoon, my big long spoon, and I will spoon out all but a cup. So I don't care how much is in here. I will take it down to a cup of starter and throw the rest away. So anyways, unless I know she's in good shape. Sometimes she's in great shape, she tastes great, and you can actually test it. So just take a little piece out of there and test it, and you'll know this is really sour, or no, this is not too bad. So anyways, but on the day I'm going to bake bread, I'm pretty picky. I want it to be good. So I'll take it down to a cup. I'll feed it. Remember, it's 1 cup of water and then probably about 1.5 cups, maybe 1.25 cups of flour. And I'll mix it up all nice and good. And I'll leave it on my counter. And the reason why I want to leave it on my counter is I want it to eat fast. I want it to like bubble up. So I'll start this process in the morning. And it'll bubble up all nice and beautiful after a couple hours for me, like maybe 2 hours-ish, give or take. And then I'll come in, I'll be like, oh, Hope, you're great. And I will spoon off what I fed it, meaning I'll stir it up before you feed it. Stir it up and spoon off half of it and throw it in the trash. And then I'll feed her again, okay? Exact same thing, I'll feed her again. I'll do a cup of water and about 1.5 cups or 1.25 cups of flour, mix it in, leave her on the counter, and let her do her job again. So she's just in heaven. At this point, she's just so excited because she's getting all this food. So she'll bubble up again, probably 2 or 3 hours, and then I'll taste it. If it tastes decent, like I'm like, oh, this isn't too bad at all, then I'll know she's ready. If she's still really sour, she's not ready, and it will come out in your bread. So if you try to use her and she's not ready, you're going to notice it in the bread, and your family's not going to eat it. So anyways, if she's ready, which usually after the second feeding, she's happy and she's ready for me to use her. And so I will not spoon that off. I will stir her up, and then I'll start using her in my recipes for my bread. And I'll show you, that'll be another class that we're going to do. But that's one of my biggest tricks to being successful with using my yeast, is feeding her several times on the day I'm going to use her. So I'll feed her once, let her bubble up on the counter, feed her again, let her bubble up, test it, make sure it's not too sour. If it's too sour, I'll scrape off a cup, throw it in the trash, and feed her again. And usually, I don't think I've ever had to feed her more than that 3rd time. Usually it's two times and we're ready to go. So that is one of the biggest tips I can give you on using your yeast. One way to know, so another tip is if you have gone on a trip, okay, so storing her in the fridge. So if you want to go out of town, feed her right before you go, okay? Put her in the fridge, and she can probably make it a week without dying. She's going to be mad when you get back, so just expect that you're going to see black liquid on the top, but she's still okay. I think the longest I've gone is a few weeks without feeding her, and I thought for sure I'd killed her. So, and she was okay. But the way to revive her, when you've made her mad like that, the best thing to do is what I just explained to you. Feed her a bunch. So, and on the counter. So feed her, let her rise. Don't put her in the fridge. Let her eat fast. Feed her again, and like just scrape off half, throw it away, feed her again, and just go through that exact same process that I used for making bread. When you've gone on a trip and she's mad at you now. Let's see, what else? So, how do you know you've killed her? How do you know you killed your starter? If she's turned black, she's gone. So just throw her away, and hopefully you save some of your yeast flakes. I can't remember if I mentioned that, but when she's healthy and strong, take some of the yeast out of the jar, spread it flat on plastic paper or parchment paper or something like that, and let it dry. Just let it dry out. That will make you extra yeast starts, which is phenomenal. And you take those and you just break off like a tablespoon-sized piece and stick it in Ziploc bags, or you could even, if you have a food saver, you could, you know, vacuum pack it, vacuum seal it in a jar or in plastic, and then stick that with your food storage. Stick several of them in your food storage because, one, there's a good chance you're going to kill at least one or more of your starters at some point. That's okay. You've got a backup, so you're not worried about that. And then friends like to share. Friends should share. And when people start knowing that you're using this, they're going to want a starter. So share it with somebody else. Okay? So keep those as your backup plan. If you happen to kill it, it's okay. You've got a backup plan. Okay, so another way to know that it's not happy or not working well, or it might be dead, is if you feed it and it doesn't do anything. So usually it takes about 24 hours. Within 24 hours, it should double up in size. Just like making bread, it should double up in size and have all those little happy bubbles that you saw in an earlier video. You know it's happy when it's doing that. If it doesn't do that, if it looks similar to this, where there's not really any bubbles, this is because I just fed it, then you might be in trouble, but you're probably okay. Just feed it and leave it on the counter. Leaving it on the counter can usually make it all happy again, okay? And then stick it in your fridge once you know it's happy and it's doing well, okay? Other tips and tricks, let me think. If you happen to like sourdough bread, then you'll know by tasting it that it's kind of sour, and then go ahead and use it and you can have sourdough bread. If you want sourdough bread, the best way to get sourdough bread, which is really easy, is don't do what I said about feeding it a couple times before you use it. Bring it out of the fridge the day you're going to feed it. So on the second or third day or whatever, when you're going to feed it, take that instead of dumping it off, use it. And it'll tend to be sour. So you can get that flavor if that's what you like. I hope that makes sense. And then if you don't like the sour, you know what to do. Other tips and tricks, I think that's all I've got for you for right now. So we're going to be done. Thanks.